Wildest outdoor race of the year. We talk Glen Helen coming up on this episode of the Moto Aftermath Show.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Alright guys, welcome to the Moto Aftermath Show. Just watched a wild and crazy Glen Helen. Made some track changes to it, which kind of narrowed it up, and it wasn't quite as gnarly, but you wouldn't guess that by how the racing went this weekend.
It was rough. I mean, kind of going by the same narrative we said about typical hangdown, typical Glen Helen. Fast pace, really square edge to the bottom of the hills because you're carrying so much momentum and braking so hard. You're right, they did get rid of the big booter step up. Added some new sand sections that basically at the end of the day turned into fucking whoops. And I don't think that was the original plan. And yeah, it was definitely gnarly. It proved holds up to Glen Helen standards. Deep ruts, G-outs, square edges, rounded edges, pockets. Everything you can say about a track getting rough, it got pretty gnarly.
It did. It did. And, you know, when we get to talking about the two classes here, you guys will see why if you haven't watched it or you don't get a chance to watch it, you just watch the show. It was a lot of dudes going out. The overalls were crazy with who was getting what. It was like a 1-7 got the overall or something nuts like that. So,
well, technically a 4-2.
4-2, yeah. 4-2 and a 3-1 got the overall, so that was weird. But yeah, just a wild and crazy Glen Helen, and coming out was nothing like what we had going in. So
no, not at all.
Let's jump into this here and get right to it. All right, let's jump into the 250s here. You want to start with the overalls, first moto, second moto? What do you want to do here?
I want to start off by saying Pro Circuit, you need to get your shit together.
Oh, yes. 3 out of 4 Pro Circuit bikes. Lock up, done.
And how is it that the biggest dude on the team has not blown up a bike yet?
That's amazing.
It is.
You want to know why? He rides with Kenny. I'm going to put that out there. I heard last week that Kenny, when he was riding, before he got hurt, would ride the bike. Last year, somebody was talking about, I think it was Phil on the Pulp Show, was talking about how he would pass him, and they actually looked at the telemetry stuff, and he was riding a gear higher and lower RPMs than anyone else on the track in the 450 class. So you figure if he is helping Adam at all, right there's your answer. Adam's not winding out a 250F.
Yeah, I don't know right now. Whatever the case is Pro Circuit needs to get their shit together because, you know, I'd feel gutted for Joey. Austin got really lucky that it blew up on the pocket and not at the top of the lip. And right now, you know, AC, you know, he's doing the best for him and stuff, but it's not a good look when your guys are not confident going out for each and every moto and stuff that their bike's going to last the whole entire time. And it's only going to get, if this is overheating issue, it's only going to get worse when we go to the East Coast when it starts being 100 degrees and humid all the time. So I don't normally like to talk bad about teams, especially somebody's accomplice as Mitch's team, but dude, you guys got to get your shit together because you ain't going to have anybody wanting to ride with you if your bikes keep blowing up every moto, which they have. 4 motos in a row now. You've had a bike blow up.
Well, yeah, you had, because the first moto you had, Austin's bike had electrical issues. Then
Hill had problems the second moto.
Hill had problems the second moto, and then you've got Hill and Faulkner's blow up the first moto
and
today.
then Savacci's
blows up the second moto. Like,
you gotta get it figured out, man. You gotta get it figured out.
Unbelievable. So, what do you want to do? You want to talk about overall right now?
Let's talk about
overall. So let's start
bottom up.
Bottom up. All right. So we'll start with 5th place overall in the day. Colt Nichols, aka Colt 45.
Colt 45.
Colt 45, dog. But dude rode really, really well actually for coming into the season, and I knew nothing about him. He's all of a sudden way on my radar.
He's doing good. You know, Cole was always a strong amateur and stuff. You know, known for more being a technically sound guy. But like we had him in the show, even me knowing a lot about Colts, like we had him at best top 10, and he's 6th and 5th, and I mean he's killing it. I know he hasn't been riding too much, so his fitness is still a little bit down. But I tell you what, if his fitness, we get to the halfway point, and he's in the top 5 in the points, he could make a run for getting top 3 come the end of the season. Because he's
very easily.
His speed's there.
Oh yeah,
like that is not the issue.
We can work with speed.
We can work with speed. So, I mean, I don't know if there's much more else to say other than impressed.
Yep.
Impressed.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, and then moving right up in the top 5 there, you get to 4th place overall on the day. Adam Cianciarillo. I mean, what can you say? A, he's lucky. He's the only PC bike that didn't grenade today, so we'll count our blessings on that. B, I really like the kid, and he's been doing very well. Last week, fitness kind of became an issue, but as I've heard discussed over the week, and I believe it too, he spent himself so much that first moto trying to chase down and pace Osborne that once he got the second moto, he didn't have anything left in the tank. So today he looked better. Still,
he even caught Osborne a little. Whether Ozzy was kind of pacing him and settled in, he caught him. I think it went down from like 12 seconds with this last. I think at the finish line it was maybe like 5 seconds and stuff. But who knows if Osborne was just riding around and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, the biggest thing with AC, as big as he is, when it gets to the deep ruts where you got to really get that lean angle and stuff, and it stays lifted on the inside, he's those long legs. It's easy for him to dog paddle, and you know, it's only going to get worse when you go to the East Coast, but I think that's just only his Achilles heel right now, is when you get deep ruts, even as much leg strength that he has, it's going to be hard for him to not dab his foot, you know, 2-3 times a lap. So I think he rode good. I mean, he's second in points, and what else can you ask for out of him, considering how his career's gone?
I mean, realistically, so far out of 4 motos, other than Osborne consistently being up front, everyone else is all over the board. So it's pretty much wide open after Osborne, and all it takes is Osborne to have one bad moto where he doesn't score points, and this whole series is wide open. Like,
and I still stand by what we talked about in the previous show. I still think AC can get some wins. It's just going to take when we go back to the East Coast. So. So, all right, let's move up to 3rd overall. And super impressive on the day. Got his first moto win, first podium. Dominating fashion.
Dominating fashion, the second moto. He's over 22nd win. The Frenchie there.
And I don't care what anybody says, whether you're an Osborne fan or not, and I'll give Osborne. He is the points leader. He's killing it right now. But he had no shot at pacing Frenchie. Frenchie was gone. He stuck with him. Frenchie even passed him and checked out on him. So I don't want to hear anybody this week, no matter where it is, saying, oh, you know, Osborne was just letting him go. No, Osborne had a chance to pace him, and he just couldn't keep the pace, plain and simple.
Nope, absolutely not. God, he rode well. For last week, bonking his head at Hangtown. And I mean, he even crashed in the first moto. Still rode all right, but little crash, wasn't anything major, but...
Well, here's the question though. Before we get to second, I know it was one moto, but it was very dominating, and I know how quick we are in the sport to jump conclusions and stuff. But if that was the real Dylan Ferrandis, is everybody else looking at that race and kind of saying, dude, if this kid gets a start, are we going to be in trouble this year? And once again, I know it was only one moto, but the fact that he dominated that easily, and dude, he was on a Sunday cruise.
I want to get in the heat and humidity and see how he does there.
And I understand that, but I'm talking about just overall speed-wise.
Oh yeah, speed for speed, yeah, he's killing it.
And that's the thing. That's why I ask. I know it's really early to predict, but if the heat isn't an issue come the East Coast and he's got that figured out, which both of us don't believe that's going to be the case, but if he does, and he's that fast.
Oh yeah.
Are the guys going to be in trouble this year? Because I think they are.
Oh yeah, because he'll figure it out, and even if not, where he completely figures it out this year, and he can put it all together and win the title, then you get into next year. Holy shit!
The kid's fast.
Holy shit! Yeah, he is. He's got talent. He may be an asshole, but he's got talent.
He is, but he's fast, so that's all that matters.
So anyway, let's move up to 2nd overall on the day here. Jeremy Martin. Kind of a resurgence, I guess you'd say.
I feel so bad for him, though.
I mean, yeah, the first moto was great. Wire to wire.
Easy, yep.
Old J-Mart, no problem.
Yep.
Awesome, he's back. Everybody, even on TV, he's back.
And he was looking like it. He was just getting into groove, and he got into groove and started to flow, and he just kept 10 seconds between him and Joey all the way till like the 25-minute mark. And dude, he was just preloading, skipping over fucking braking bumps and stuff, getting low in the corners, trusting the rut to carry him through. And he looked like the old J-Mart. And then the second moto happens.
And in the second moto, man, you know, realistically, it was just a little mistake. That was all there was to it. Yeah. It wasn't big. It was almost like a Savatgy syndrome mistake. Like it shouldn't have happened, but it did.
Yep.
You know, and he still fought back. What did he get the second race?
7th.
7th. So he still fought back, but he can't have those mistakes and win.
But he was, taking away from Frenchie doing what he did the second moto, J-Mart, had he gone down, probably was going to win the overall.
Yep.
He was going to win the overall, clearing away. I mean, that was the old J-Mart. So Feel bad for him. He's freaking having the bike problems in the first moto at Hangtown, really screwed him and stuff, but he's pretty far out of it still. I think he's like, what, 7th in the points or something, or 8th, I don't know. But it's a long series, and if he can continue to go out to win like he did the first moto, it's going to take a lot of them, but it's not out of the question.
No, absolutely not. And then your overall winner on the day, again, Zach Osborne. I mean, what do you say? He's just been the most consistent guy so far. In 2 races, he went, what did he go today?
4-2.
4-2, so he went 4-2 for the overall today, 1-1 last week. I mean, comparatively to where everyone else is with DNFs and crashes, and yeah, he's just head and shoulders above everyone else right now, and that's why he's got a 21-point lead after 2 rounds. So,
but, and I will say this, and I know I'm probably going to get roasted again. It's not hating on Osborne. It's just from my perspective. I seriously believe that last weekend, and I still think Osborne, after how he rode at Hangtown, can still get some wins and stuff. And 21 points. He's been the most consistent, which is funny considering he was the dude with the most bike problems last year. And we talked about it in the preview show. I think the first round was kind of just him coming off with so much confidence of Supercross and just coming out like, dude, I can go out here and I can pace everybody, and if I get a lead, I can just gap out, and I just got so much confidence that I just feel like that bike will do whatever I want to. And I think now that we've gotten into Glen Helen, I think that was more of what you'll see out of Osborne. He can be consistent and win, but he's not the fastest dude like everybody thought he was going to be from Hangtown. Like, he killed at Hangtown, but I think that was a little bit of a hangover from Supercross and him just coming in on a high. And I think that's all it was. Do I think he can still go 1-1? Yeah, I do. But let's be honest, he got handled pretty easy today.
He did. He really did.
And he said he had a bug, which, whatever. I mean, I don't know if he did or not.
Well, he said he had allergies, which, allergy guy, I get it.
But he looked pissed. Pissed.
Yeah, he wasn't happy with his performance for sure.
So great to Osborne, 21-point lead. That's a lot going into the 3rd round. Boys are going to have to be really, really consistent. But man, if I'm him after doing what I did at Hangtown, I'm really looking and I'm like, ooh, we got to work on some things. But hats off to him. I mean, that's crazy to have that big of a points lead only after round 2.
Yep. So, any other thoughts on 450 or I'm sorry, 250?
No, other than if I'm Austin Faulkner right now, I'm really upset. I know that really doesn't mean anything, but I'm just really pissed.
Well, we could talk about the rookies for a second too. Cantrell and Mosman rode really well. Both of them have been putting in good rides for rookies. So, impressed. We'll see how they do when we get middle of the season. But
I hope Cam McAdoo's okay.
Yeah, that too. That's a nasty, gnarly wreck he had, but that'll happen. So that's pretty much everything on the 250. So we'll move on here. Let's move on to 450s. You want to start this one off?
Where do you want to start? You want to start with some of the
do you want to talk about Honda, Kawasaki?
Honda, absolute hole shot!
Absolute hole shot. They didn't freaking lie when they made that freaking announcement.
And that's where it taped.
Then that's where it ends, right there. You just that's it. But no, Craig.
Dude.
2 for 2, bro. I mean,
dude.
You can't argue 2 for 2 with the whole shot. So the bike looks great in the starts, but
and he was looking great that second moto.
He actually looked good, although I think he was going to fade off the podium.
He was. Marv was probably going to get him with like 5 laps to go, but still.
He looked good until he crashed and bounced himself off the top of that jump.
And I hope his wrist isn't broken. I don't think it is. I think it's probably only sprained, but I hope it's not an issue because he's definitely building momentum. But let's talk about the second thing on our board, which we have a board sitting down here so we can look straight down.
Pit board, bro.
Because we forget things because we're old now.
Pit board, bro.
Let's talk about the second thing. Something that if I'm Kawasaki, I am really kicking myself in the ass about.
Let's put it this way. I'm never buying a Kawasaki right now because this is ridiculous.
250 or 450.
No, I'm not touching those.
Stick to your 07, bro.
Yeah, dude.
07.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, dude, that shouldn't have happened. It happened in Dallas, and it shouldn't have fucking happened now. I don't know. I'm kind of at a shock, a loss for words, because, I know that Gio was saying, oh, bent rotor. Bro, I'm a mechanic. When you have a disc guard, it's like a 1% possibility of busting up a rotor with a fucking disc guard on. I don't know what it was. I think it was C's piston. But either way, I'm kind of at a loss for words on that. You go ahead.
Yeah, I don't really get how you have a freaking brake issue when you had one less than 2 months ago.
That cost you a championship.
Yeah, how does that happen? Like, and if he doesn't win the title now, and we look back on this race, and he needed like 5 more points or whatever, I mean,
It's twice outdoors and Supercross you can say that cost him a title.
yeah, I would. I'll tell you what, if I were Tomax, I would be way up Kawasaki's ass at that point. But still early in the year, like I told him, at least we got it out of the way early. It wasn't like Dallas where like midway through the year, all of a sudden, oh, we had this problem and we get a 15th place finish.
22-2.
It was early, yeah. So now we're 22-2. No,
I'm just kidding.
No, I don't think he'll win 22 more.
It doesn't really matter. It's just.
I think he might win 18 more here. You know, realistically though, if you look at it, like, God, no one can pace him. Even look at Marv, that second moto, didn't do anything. Like, had Christian not crashed out, he was in 4th place.
And Brock hounded him literally the whole entire time.
So, you know, there's just such a big gap speed-wise between Tomac and everyone else, but
it starts. It really is starts.
And that was what cost him the first moto, was the start. You cannot start in 13th with this field and hope to work your way to the front. Even though, yes, he was faster, and yes, it pretty much looked like with the gap he had at the end, if he had another lap, cool, whatever, but that's a shoulda, woulda, coulda type deal. But he, man, just speed-wise, like when he decides he's going to drop it, like he just drops the hammer and away he goes.
3 seconds.
3 seconds a lap. And we watched the lap times, too, to see if he was going to, because at the beginning of the race, you're like, man, he's really not pushing forward that hard, like, whatever, maybe he's just being patient, and he was. But he ran into, there was one major point, he ran into some lappers in the first one. There was a whole group of them.
Craig was one of them.
Yeah. Well, no, he was trying to pass Craig.
Well, I mean, like,
and
Craig, they got into lappers.
And they ran into a whole group of lappers, and that held him up a little bit. So, you know, I mean, there's a couple other things, but, you know, realistically, now you're looking at 2 bike problems that have cost him major points in 2 different championships. And so, yeah, that's a bit concerning, because it wasn't him. He still rode to a 19th place finish in the second moto there with no front brakes. And rode Glen Helen with no front brakes to a 19th place finish.
And look, we're not making, anybody that watches this, people watch it and know how much Tomac guys we are, but we're not making an excuse for him. We even said, you can't win with shit, and he just said about even before we went on the show, you can't win with shit starts, but to Travis's point, and something that we've even been hounding back into Supercross when Eli started to get on a roll, his speed, there's such a discrepancy between him and everybody else that if he gets a start, he's gone. Like, it's gone. I don't care what anybody says, he is gone. And it almost kind of joking around, but it's like to my point last week, I almost hope Eli does get 10th place starts or whatever for the season, because we know if he does rip a holy, he's gone. Like, nobody can pace him. And that proved in the first moto. Once again, he caught Marv, whether Marv was settling or not. 3 seconds a lap difference on that track is 3 seconds. That's a big deal. And it's like, man, it's just, you can't win the championship getting starts like that. But honestly, I almost hope he does, because if he does get a start, it's going to be like Kenny last year. It's going to be boring.
Yep. So, all right, let's get into our top 5 overall, then, now that we've had our little discussion.
Well, it had to be talking about, though, because it was an issue.
And Kawasaki's and stuff, yeah. So anyway, 5th place overall in the day, Weston Pike.
Yeah! Woo!
Bulldog on the track.
The bear eater.
Broken wrist and all. He's
no shit.
Good. Good to go. So.
He's ahead of schedule right now.
He is. And like they said on the show, and we discussed a little bit before we came on, once he gets completely healthy here, middle of the summer, look out, because all of a sudden those top 5s could start turning into podium overalls, which is going to make things interesting.
Well, because I'm a Weston guy, but I want to touch a little bit. With him getting on a roll this early, and with him, when his wrist finally does heal, and we do get to the East Coast tracks, where it's a bulldog thing with him, just manhandling the bike with all that traction. With the top 3 right now, kind of being other than Tomac and Marv being up in the air, even though JG, the first moto, can we really see Weston being a consistent podium guy? I mean, because I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not just saying that, like, I really do. If he's this far ahead of schedule, when we get to the East Coast, I don't expect him to have anything from Marv and Eli. But, I mean, 3rd place, dude, that's not out of the question.
Nope.
And it kind of transitions into the 4th place guy, Dean Wilson. Another guy that can start capitalizing on the top 3 being up in the air.
Yep. Because Dean Wilson, again, another solid ride to 4th overall. I don't know where he finished exactly.
1 spot behind Weston. The second moto.
Okay, well, again, I don't know his exact finishes, but I mean, 4th overall, you can't argue 2 weeks in a row. he's doing it.
He is
doing it, which is good. And now if he can just get that flashy speed, which we've seen a couple of it in the first 2 weeks here, but if he can get some more of that, then teams will start looking at him again really, really good. So third place overall on the day, finally here. Kind of was a letdown last week. Blake Baggett. So, you know, good ride. He was right up front. He was leading for a while there in that second moto. So finally showing what we thought he was going to do last week.
And that's the thing. I think that they said that they changed the bike a lot. I don't know what the changes, whether they were chassis, engine changes, whatever. He really needed to get things rolling because his first, even though he was good and he was in the top 10, it was very underwhelming, just like with Cooper Webb, which I don't know what his problem was the second moto. I think he had a bike malfunction. But he was one of those guys that we kind of pegged him to be a kind of challenge for the front, and, you know, it looked like it. He didn't fade a lot, but I think being out in front and kind of exerting himself, like it kind of faded him down a little bit. But I mean, that's who we thought Blake could be. So I mean,
yep. And then you get into second overall on the day, Rockstar Husky guy Jason Anderson had a good ride, got a moto win there, the second moto. You know, was fifth in the first moto. So I mean, what can you say?
That's the Anderson we know him.
Yeah, we all know he can ride. The thing is, can he show up every week and do it? That's sort of the question. I know he had some troubles last week. They were kind of his control, got pegged with that rock and stuff. But
and we're going to his worst track of the year next week.
Yeah, next week's going to be really interesting with him because he has that altitude sickness. Is he even going to show up? If he does show up, how's he going to ride? Is he going to just like fly in Friday night, fly out Saturday right after the race?
And that's what they talked about for Salt Lake this year.
Yep. So I don't know. We'll see. After we get through next week, then I'll talk about how much of a contender I think he'll actually be for a title once we see how he does next week.
Well, here's my question to you before we get on to everybody knows who won it. Ando rides like that. Do you see him inserting himself into being that guy that, what happens whether Eli, it's weird to be saying this because Eli's not even the points leader anymore, to being the guy that, oh, hey, I can jump up here and I can be the second place guy because, let's be honest, when Ando's on it, everybody knows he's faster than Marv.
Yeah.
And that's the Anderson that we all saw at MX Nations last year when he won the moto before he made the bonehead move and then got landed on whatever. But that's the Anderson that we all know he can be, and if that Anderson shows up week in and week out, to your point, if he does do it after Thunder Valley, I don't know, man. I don't know. If Eli, if he has bike problems or whatever and Anderson can keep getting off the line, dude, if I'm Marv, I'm more worried about Anderson right now than I am Eli because Anderson's up further in the points.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's...
I said, I got to see how next week goes before I start making any judgment calls on Anderson.
I completely agree. I'm just saying, kind of, you know, predicting that if that Ando shows up every race, let's be honest, that if Eli has problems and Marv is where Marv starts, that Anderson's going to win every time.
Yeah, oh yeah. Anderson has the speed, but it's just which one's going to show up. Yeah, so. And then, obviously, first overall in the day, Marv went 1-3. Again, third place in the second moto, kind of got gifted to him when Craig crashed because he wasn't really moving forward at all.
No.
That was pretty much where he started, and that was where he was.
Yep.
So, little interesting. I'm not sure if he just was like, well, I don't really need to, or what was going on, but, and also in the first moto, you can tell he knows he's not that fast because, yeah, he did this a lot. And I mean, very, very distinctly on TV.
Twice or three times the last
lap he was looking to be like, where is Tomac at? So he's obviously nervous. He knows he's not faster than him. Now, is his consistency better? Maybe. But, you know, he doesn't have a teammate to pull over for him anymore. So, you know, chances of that, if he gets to that position, he's screwed. So... yeah, but I mean, overall, Marv rode well on the day. I mean, went 1-3, so you can't argue with that. He's got a 15-point lead, which is okay. But again, we've seen it with the Red Bull KTMs too. Look at what was it? Crawfordsville.
Yep.
3 years ago, when him and Coop were going at the title. Must have been 3 years ago.
3 years ago. No.
2. It
2
was
years
2.
ago.
It
2
was
years
2.
ago.
And he had that electrical issue and didn't finish the moto. All it takes is one thing like that, and all of a sudden the points are closed back up, and it's a wild, wild race because now everybody 2nd through 10th is close.
See, here's the thing about Marv.
Within 20-some points, so.
I think Marv, and they kind of touched on in the practice show, but it is true. His finishes is usually very predicated on what the track conditions are. I mean, we all know how methodical Marv is, one of the smoothest guys out there. You know, bunny hopping, manual over shit, using the least amount of energy you possibly can, just letting his upper body just kind of do the work and be loose. But Marv, even though he's shown how fast he is this year and just kind of emerged as this top guy now, he doesn't have the blazing speed right off the bat. And I think that was one of the issues the second moto. Now, once again, to your point, whether you want to say that he was just laying up because maybe Frankie was telling him, hey, Eli's got issues, whatever. But if you watch the timing, he had 1 or 2 laps where he was close, and then the rest of the other times, when Brock was pacing him, he was 2 seconds off of what Baggett and Ando were running and stuff. So if I'm Marv, even though he's got the points lead, like, I got to have a little bit more sense of urgency at the beginning of the motos and stuff, because like I said, if Ando's feeling it, you know, Baggett's finally starting to come everything together. When Weston gets back healthy, if Dino's going to keep progressing and doing better, you know, if Craig doesn't have an issue and he can keep the momentum rolling, and you know, when they go to the East Coast, then obviously discounting everything about Tomac because we know what he can do. I gotta have a little bit more sense of urgency if I really want to try to win this championship. Now that I do have the points lead with after what happened to Eli, and I just don't think right off the bat he's got the speed, the sprint speed, that if he gets in situations like that, he can win.
Nope.
I mean, dude, I get it. Ando was feeling it. He got in the groove, and he was just flowing, and I don't think Marv was going to beat him no matter what. But if you know that Eli's going to have issues, you try to capitalize it. Dude, if I'm Marv, I'm going after Baggett.
Yep.
I'm riding that ragged edge. I'm trying to go after Baggett.
Yep.
And get as many points as possible.
Yep.
Because you know Gift's having, like with Eli, it's few and far between. And I don't know. He looked great, solid the first moto and stuff. But you know mentally, if he's looking over that much, that he's got some thoughts running through his head.
Yep.
Running through his head.
Yep.
So, I mean, great ride, awesome. First overall, obviously first win, and then first overall on a 450 today, outdoors. But man, he's got to have more urgency at the beginning of the moto and stuff. And I don't know, man. That's a little concerning to me.
Yep.
Because, like, what, he's... I think...
Yeah, because he's the same way. If we get down to the end and he loses the title by 3 points because he didn't push and make a pass this weekend, I mean, then you look at it and go, well, where was your urgency then, right? So, I don't know. It'll be an interesting season. Like I said, we get through next week and the break and then start heading back east here, and then the season really starts. So, so we'll see after Thunder Valley. So let's do our 450 predictions, because we've had some people request them in the comments in different areas. So let's do 450 predictions. You go first. Top 3 overall next week.
Overall next week, do you just want to go that's how they finish, or motos?
No, just overall.
Just overall. Third, it's kind of weird to say it after coming off an overall, but I'm probably going to have to say Marv. Second, I think Baggett. I would love to put Anderson, but we don't know what's going to happen. I think Baggett keeps the ball rolling. He's had an up and down time at Thunder Valley and stuff, but with his fitness, and everybody knows the altitude is a big issue out there, I think that if he can get good starts like he did, and he can sprint early, it fits his style. And I got to go Tomac. Speed, plain and simple, speed. I got to go Tomac, who's going to win it.
And it's his track, so yeah, I'm going to go with Eli up top. I am going to put Marv in second.
Okay.
Because I think Marv's going to still ride well.
No issues with that.
Yeah, and then you get down into third, and I'm going to put Baggett in third, just because, well, you know what? Actually, no, I'm going to change that. I'm going to say Wilson steps it up and gets podium overall next week. So we're going to go with Eli, Marv, Wilson, just because Baggett's kind of hit or miss right now. I don't really know which Baggett's going to show up. And Anderson, you have no idea what's going to go on with the altitude sickness. So
if he gets his thing together, though, would you have him in second? If you knew that was not an issue after
the
that,
altitude sickness?
Yeah, and now once again, coulda, shoulda, woulda. But if you knew that wasn't an issue, could you see him getting second?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's going to carry confidence from this. So. So yeah. So any other thoughts on the 450s here?
I said
before we wrap this up.
I might as well just say, who's your 250 winner? We don't have to do the top 3. Who's your 250 winner?
I'm gonna say Osborne wins it next week.
Really?
Yeah.
Just a question. Not that it doesn't really matter, but what would give you that cause to think that?
He's just the most consistent. Until somebody else proves to me that week in and week out, you're throwing darts at a board trying to pick somebody. You know?
Do you think with the overall though? Do you think he wins a moto?
Yeah, because he rode the altitude with Tomac 2 or 3 years ago here for a whole year.
Okay,
so.
well, he's gotten his ass handed to him. I have no problems with that. I'm just asking because of how he did today.
I'm just saying, with the way the season's gone so
Okay.
far, and how he's riding, and how everyone else is riding, and you don't know if the PC bike's even gonna fucking make it through the goddamn race. Like, there's just so many variables with everything else. I mean, at that point, you're just put a dartboard up with everyone's face on it, throw it, and go, okay, well, they're gonna get the overall, or they're gonna get second, whatever, or the moto wins or whatever. But with Osborne, he consistently finishes well enough that he can get the overall week in and week out at this point, until somebody else, like I said, starts proving me wrong. So
I'll say Frenchie.
you don't think the altitude's gonna fuck with him at all?
Nope. Not really. I don't honestly
Okay.
The only reason I say that, and we always joke around about it, but it is true, speed. That Dylan Ferrandis shows up, and I am almost willing to bet that I don't even know if a confident J-Mart can beat that Dylan Ferrandis. And Thunder Valley is notorious for being concrete at the end of the motos. And we know Frenchie can ride hard packed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's one of those things that kind of like with Osborne, it's, and I'm basing all of this of how he did the last moto, and I know we shouldn't do that, get caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if that Frenchie rips a holy, and we know those Yamahas can get starts, if he rips a hole shot and he feels it that early, man, I don't know. I'd almost be willing to bet that he could go 1-1. Because it's not going to be hot. It's not going to be, I'm not saying.
Hot take.
It's not going to be hot next weekend. It's not going to be
No.
hot.
No.
I think it maybe 80, 82. I'm just saying, I think Frenchie surprises us and gets a win. Gets the overall. I really do. And
Interesting.
So aside from that, I really don't know. But the 250 class is fucking crazy right now.
Yep. So, all right.
2 Pro Circuit bikes blow up next week.
2 out of 4 blow up. All right. So that's pretty much it for this episode of the Moto Aftermath Show. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button, comment down below, because I know
Keep
you guys
hating.
like to hate on him.
Keep
which
it
is
hating.
Great.
I love it. Fuels me.
Make sure you share the videos, tell your friends about it, post it on your Facebook walls, go to Facebook and like and follow us on there, at the Moto Aftermath Show on Facebook there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We will see you guys next week after Thunder Valley. Alright, great. So we'll start off with just like the wildest race of the year, Glen Helen. Or we talk Glen Helen coming up on the Moto Aftermath Show. I feel like that's pointed right fucking at you. Like I feel like it runs here. Where are we at?
You're pretty much all in the shot other than like the down half of your shoulder. So you're like,
Alright, let's scooch this direction then half. And let's
Oh shit. Now it's literally pointed right at me.
let's just do this here. Oh yeah, then you can see me scrubbing in the background.
Yeah, okay.
Gnarly.
I don't know about scrubbing. Yeah.
Gnarly.
Fucking pegging it or anything.
oh man, you see how tight I'm holding on? I'm pretty much pegging that.